Toy Story is directed by John Lasseter and stars Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. Woody is profoundly jealous when a new spaceman action figure, Buzz Lightyear, supplants himself at the top toy in Andy's bedroom. When circumstances separate them from their owner, the duo must put their differences aside to return to him. I grew up with this film back when I was very little. I really enjoyed watching it whenever it's on Disney Channel, or I watched the DVD that I had. I did not have the box that came with it. I borrowed the DVD from a cousin of mine, and I've enjoyed it since, and I've always loved the original Toy Story, and I've enjoyed the sequels a whole lot, especially some newer ones, but the original film is like a different beast on its own when compared to everything else that came after. This film is absolute insanity in terms of its humor, in terms of a lot of the scenarios our characters find themselves in, and it can be a bit crude pushing the G rating. It felt like it could be like a PG movie, honestly, with some of the jokes that it has that I'm surprised it got away with, which I really love about the film. But also, one thing you gotta respect this movie without doubt is how it's the first feature-length CG animated film. Pixar had dealt with CG short films, trying to innovate and trying to push more 3D animation into the forefront, and this paved the way for a new era of animation, having us go through a new style that we've never seen before, a new look that is unique, and Pixar was the innovator of that. And Toy Story, their first feature film, was like a product of its time. Like, this was a benchmark for film in general, and especially for animation. And even to this day, even though there's some animation backgrounds and character designs here that don't look the best, even with that 35mm scan that honestly looks incredible and the best way to watch this film, for the most part, this movie still holds up really well in terms of the animation it provides. There's a lot of great reflections, a lot of great textures, a lot of the movement of these toys just feel so natural, and even if it is a bit janky, it's not really that much of a big deal to me, because it sometimes feels like it's just a part of how these toys move because of what they are. And overall, they're just something that feels very authentic. And I think because Pixar did choose to animate mostly toys here, it made a lot of the animation be a lot easier to stylize a bit and flow however the story and the filmmakers want these toys to flow and move like. And so the animation, especially as I said, the textures and the backgrounds, it looked great. Not Toy Story 4, but realistic. We are not at that point in technology yet at that time, but for what it was able to accomplish back in the day, the animation was stellar and paved a new way for animation in film. So you gotta respect Toy Story in that regard and what it was able to accomplish with its technology. But also the story that it has to go for is really good. I think this is probably not the most emotional Toy Story film. 2, 3, and 4 has that over this movie, but what it doesn't have in terms of emotion, it has in terms of insanity and humor. This is probably the funniest Toy Story film in terms of its humor, its writing, and just how certain scenarios play out, and especially with the banter between Woody and Buzz and how their feud starts to grow into a mutual respect and friendship to one another after Woody is trying to learn how to get over his jealousy and wanting to be Andy's #1 favorite toy, and learning to accept Buzz for who he is and his purpose in Andy's life, but also how Buzz had to come to terms with how his entire viewpoint of who he thought he was is not being a space ranger, it's actually being a toy. And he was so dead set on that viewpoint throughout a good course of the first and second act until the midpoint of the film, to where he discovers that he is actually an action figure and he starts going through a midlife crisis. I think how that was all done was really good, and it never made Buzz Lightyear feel unlikable and like an antagonist or even someone who's dumb when he just thinks he's a space ranger. He feels smart, at least he knows what he's doing, and is willing to still be there for those in need, especially Woody, even after a lot of their bickering and their fights that they've gone through. He still feels like a loyal figure that is willing to be there by his side, which is a good seed planted for their friendship to grow naturally, is that respect that Buzz has for even Woody despite everything he's done to him. But once that reveal hits to Buzz, when he realizes that he's an action figure, we get this incredible moment where Randy Newman's song starts playing and he is wanting to believe that he is a space ranger, where he tries to fly over the stairs of Sid's house and starts falling to the ground and breaks his arm. That was probably the most emotional moment of the film. It has, not in the levels of where it makes me cry, but you really do feel for Buzz in this moment. You feel his sadness that he's going through. And the fact that the only piece of dialogue is to infinity and beyond in this scene, and how that is just slapped away from him immediately, was beautiful direction in Lasseter's part. Even though he's a fucking terrible person, but that's a story for another day, or you already all know we don't like Lasseter. Just, I'm complimenting the direction of this film alone. Him as a person, I don't like it. And then in the third act, the movie becomes a jailbreak movie where Woody and Buzz, after a really good heart-to-heart moment, both decide that only together are they able to return to Andy's home, and together they're able to make this kid happy because he needs both of them equally. And so once they're able to escape Sid's house and do whatever they can to try and return home by scaring Sid away and escaping his dog to try and reach the moving truck before it drives away completely out of sight, we get this incredible moment to where Buzz for a moment is able to glide and feel like he is truly flying. Woody saying to infinity and beyond, accepting that he is Buzz Lightyear's friend there and pretending to be Buzz for a moment. Just this entire sequence was cathartic. It's like the pinnacle of their friendship completely forming as they work together to try and reach Andy. And once they succeed at that, we get this bittersweet ending to where they spend a Christmas together, awaiting new toys and a new life as best friends. Overall, Toy Story is fantastic. It has a great message of friendship. It has fantastic animation for its time. It has wonderful writing and amazing music by Randy Newman. Toy Story is an overall classic that I never get tired of watching, and it only gets better and better as the years go on. I'm gonna give Toy Story an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.